it's really come to something when, having spent a lifetime myself fighting against NATO and American wars, it's the Americans that are trying to stop the war, and Piers Morgan, Boris Johnson and Keir Starmer who are trying to keep it going.
I don't want to keep it going.
I
don't want to keep it going.
You've got a lot of Ukrainian blood on your hands.
Wow.
You have lied about this war from the beginning.
Actually, Vladimir...
You have lied about the origin of this war, about the duration of this war, about the course of this war, and now having caused you and your war party the death of 1 million Ukrainians while claiming to love Ukrainians, you're now calling for British lives to be lost.
What a load of absolute bullshit.
That constitutes close to a war crime. You're going to regret it when very soon Zelensky is sitting in a beachfront villa somewhere counting his ill-gotten gains and all the secrets of the rampant corruption between the Democrats and the Zelensky regime begin to tumble out of the cupboard. This war did not begin 3 years ago. You very well know that it began in 2014. You very well know that it began with a coup against the elected president of Ukraine, backed by Victoria Nuland and the administration at that time, and supported by you. You very well know that the criminalization of the Russian language, which followed hard on the heels of that coup, was the proximate reason for an uprising in the east of the country amongst Russian-speaking, ethnically Russian people. You very well know that Zelensky and his predecessor rained down shot and shell on the people of East Ukraine for 8 years before Putin intervened in 2022. And that 14,000 people, most of them women and children, were killed in that onslaught.
This is the first time I'm hearing this breakdown. And of course, when there's someone on the screen not giving a flowery narrative of Ukraine's part in the conflict, the next thing that you start hearing is Russian disinformation or Russian propaganda. I don't know who this person is, but he seems to be confident about his facts. Of course, it's public knowledge that there was U.S. involvement in the coup that put Zelensky in office back in, I think, 2014, 2015. So this is kind of lining up. There's a statement he made, and I'll just say that before we finish up the video. He said that, that by the end of all of this, Zelensky will be somewhere, enjoying his ill-gotten gain, while the truth about what actually took place begins to roll out. And that's what we're seeing even with the Gulf War, the Iraq War. We're hearing how there were no weapons of mass destruction, all of the things that were claimed to be in place, which instigated the invasion of Iraq, were not true. And all the people who were involved have walked away free. And for those who had military contracts, they are currently enjoying the money that they made based on those all of the Iraq war. So he's making a point, and that means that we all have to be very careful and set our emotions aside when people try to use emotions to get us riled up and to dive headlong into a war that is unnecessary. We do need to take a break or take a beat and actually ask ourselves the questions: where is all this coming from? Who are the special interests that would want this to happen? And how can we avoid the loss of life?
Very well know that Zelensky was preparing for a final onslaught, a final solution. And while I'm on that subject, you're always telling us how much you love the Jews. You're supporting a regime which puts up statues to Nazi collaborators to generals of the Galician division of the SS. You are
Zelensky
supporting
is Jewish,
a
you know that,
regime
right?
that
You know
heroizes.
Zelensky's Jewish, right? Do you?
But that,
Well, Zelensky is Jewish, so is George Soros, and the history that we have heard, of his backstory basically is that I think he collaborated with the SS to find other Jews. So even back in the Bible, when you read the Bible, there have been accounts of Jews fighting other Jews or collaborating with the enemy. So the retort that someone who is putting up anti-Jewish statues or honoring people who are anti-Jewish and saying that that person is a Jew and that discounts that statement isn't exactly accurate. So I think we have to come up with better responses to statements about what someone who has a Jewish heritage is doing against other Jews. Let me know in the comment section if any of these facts that he is stating, statements, I don't want to call them facts, but any of these statements he's stating are actually true. I'm going to go on Grok later and check it out, but we have to ask these questions to make sure that the world isn't being drawn into an unnecessary conflict.
that's like saying there's no racism in America because Obama.
So
Obama.
So you're calling the Jewish leader of Ukraine a Nazi? Is that your position?
That's like saying there's no racism in America because Obama was briefly the president of the country. The entire western part of Ukraine played a decisive role in the mass murder of Jews and Poles and others in the Second World War. And now they are heroizing the heroes of the SS. Why doesn't Donald Trump agree with you?
Because he's wrong.
Whoa.
Well, you have been up his ass all of these 2 decades.
Really?
You've kissed his feet.
Really?
You've licked his boots. You've fawned upon him.
Really?
Benny Johnson is just enjoying this rant, and I'm not sure. Well, he has his reasons. It's interesting when a guest on Piers's show basically aims his responses at Piers, and it's just him and Piers going at it.
You have been his super fan, and now on this fundamental question of our age, he's entirely wrong. Piers, everybody watching knows you are.
So why is Piers Morgan saying that Donald Trump is wrong? Is it about, I don't know what he means. I didn't catch the beginning of this interview or this panel, but I hope he doesn't mean that Trump is wrong for wanting the war to end, because that's really most of what I've heard Trump say every time he's been asked about Ukraine. He wants the war to end. So I don't know if Piers is referring to that, or there's something specific that he is referring to.
Trump's biggest ass.
I like him.
Everybody watching.
I like Donald Trump.
I know you like him.
I like
don't
him.
like him.
And on
you
many
like
things,
him.
on many
But
things,
on this, he's
I
wrong.
like him. And on
the
many
fundamental
things.
question.
Let me finish.
The biggest question in politics in the world today, he's got it completely wrong.
No, it is little expected.
Ukraine was the most corrupt country.
What, more corrupt than Russia? More corrupt than Russia?
It was designated by the Economist.
What about Putin?
By the FT.
Wow. Let me know what you think of this clip. This is basically an end-to-end rant by this guest, and he's basically, I think his name is George Galloway. He sounds British, and he's going at it with Piers Morgan. Let me know what you think of their exchange and which parts of the clip resonated with you. I think now this happened before the Oval Office confrontation between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky. So this is not something that happened afterwards. So I don't think there's any relation to that. But let me know what you think of the narrative that it has been pushed for the last 3 to 4 years about Ukraine's status or Ukraine's position in the course of the war with Russia. And some of the things that he mentioned about the Ukrainian government targeting the eastern Ukrainians and bombing them or shelling them for 8 years before Putin got involved. Is there any fact to that? Please let me know in the comment section. I will do my own research and find out. But I don't want this video to be longer than this, so that's why I'm keeping it short, and I want the conversation to continue in the comments section. We can talk amongst ourselves there. Don't forget to use the link in the show notes to take advantage of my Audible free offer that lets you read the book or listen to the book, Dismantling America by Thomas Sowell. This book details policies that have been destructive to the United States of America that have been put in place over the decades. And I would love you to go into that because it will help with understanding what is going on today, especially when you're hearing a lot about the deep state or the administrative state. And YouTube believes that this video up here will be a great one for you to watch next.